Okay, the recording started. I guess we can start. Okay. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's webinar. This is our third session of the webinar series organized by Women in Operations Research and Management Science Forum of INFORMS, or WORMS for short. My name is Maga Kachatyan. I'm the current president of WORMS. I want to talk a little bit about the goals of WORMS. Here at WORMS, we support women in the field of operations research and management science, helping them to gain exposure for their work, increase the networking connections, and empower them to continue to pursue opportunities in operations research and management science. We want to inspire everyone, not only women, also men, about exciting areas of research and applications in operations research by highlighting role models and demonstrating the abundance of opportunities in the field. For this reason, WORMS is organizing webinars like this one and networking events. We organize WORMS Digital Social that take place every other month. Please make sure you follow WORMS on LinkedIn and Twitter to stay at the top of all the upcoming events, announcements, social hours, and webinars. I will post these links in our chat area for you to follow. And if you are not a member of WORMS, we invite you to join. I'll post also the steps how to become WORMS member. As we get close to INFORM's annual conference, WORMS board members are becoming busier than ever. WORMS organizes different events and sessions, networking events at the annual conference and at INFORMS, not only annual, also business conference and other conferences of INFORMS. This year is a completely different year. We go virtual with our conference, and some of the activities that we organize become impossible. If you could just switch to the next slide, Alice. This year, usually we organize sessions, panel discussions, and we have very popular networking events. Our luncheons at the annual meeting is very popular. We have networking receptions that are very popular. Of course, this year, luncheons and networking sessions will not happen. However, we still have our panel discussion, regular 2 sessions that we organize. We will also have a award ceremony and a business meeting. We don't have exact timing yet, but please keep an eye on our social media and our posts to attend these events. So for the WORMS award ceremony, we usually have several awards every year. This year the awards came down because some of the awards are travel awards. But this year we definitely have WORMS Achievement Award, which is the highest award WORMS is giving out to people who achieve the highest level in operations research and management science. This year, we're also excited to announce, Alice, for the next slide, please. Yes, this year, WORMS is excited to announce the Coffee and Conversation Matching Competition. We invite teams of undergraduate and graduate students to participate in a competition. Each team will solve a matching problem to pair mentors and mentees for WORMS Coffee and Conversation program. This is our WORMS internal mentorship program. And they'll design a support tool to assist them with matching process in practice. So please, if you have students, undergraduate or graduate students, if you are teaching any course, encourage your students to solve the problem and apply to get the data from us. The deadline is approaching soon. We would love to work with every team further beyond just providing data. Before I introduce our speaker, I would like to cover a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar is being recorded. We'll be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. We welcome you to revisit the content yourself and share with your colleagues. We also invite comments and questions during the presentation. If you have any questions, please put that in a Q&A box of your Zoom control panel. Our moderators will hold them, and we'll have Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And now back to our webinar. Today's presentation is on innovative uses of drones for last mile delivery with the focus of health by Alice Smith. Alice is the Joe W. Forehand Accenture Distinguished Professor of the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department at the Auburn University. She served as the department chair from 1999 to 2011. She also has a joint appointment with the Department of Computer Science and Software Engineering. Alice's research focuses in analysis, modeling, and optimization of complex systems, with emphasis on computation inspired by the natural systems. She holds US and international patents and has authored more than 200 publications. She is the editor of the recent book, Women in Industrial and Systems Engineering, Key Advances and Perspectives on Emerging Topics. Alice has very accomplished biography, and she is a role model for many women in IE, and we are very pleased to host her here at Borm's webinar. And now, without further ado, I would turn the time over to Alice. Alice?
Okay. Thank you, Marguerite. And thanks for everyone attending. I know we're all getting a little tired of Zoom and virtual things, but it is a great way to stay in touch and share information in these pandemic times. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, as was already noted, innovative uses of drones for last mile delivery with a focus on healthcare. And this is some current work, so it's work in progress. That's done in conjunction with my colleague at Auburn University, Daniel Silva. And the work I'm going to show you also involves two of our doctoral students, Nawin Yanpirat and Juan Carlos Pina Pardo. And the work has been partly funded by the Toyota Material Handling North America and the Raymond Corporation through their university research program. So we're very grateful for that support of our work. I'm going to move pretty briskly. I have a lot to cover, and I invite you, if you're interested in the work or want to know more about it, to contact me by email after the seminar, and I will be happy to share things with you and interact with you. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today are some of the challenges in rural medicine and how drones can be applied to help those challenges. I'm going to talk about two different models that we've developed. One is called the flying sidekick problem with pickup and delivery. The other is drone resupply. So those are the two main topics. The first one is by the student Nawin, that's his PhD work. The second is by the student Juan Carlos, who is actually a student at Católica in Valparaíso, Chile, and that is his PhD dissertation. I'm also going to show you about some field trials, both virtual and physical, that is part of the project. So we started this work about 18 months ago, and we're interested in looking at how drones could be used in last mile deliveries, but we were especially interested in addressing some of the problems in our region. Alabama is a relatively rural state that's kind of economically challenged in many areas, and rural medicine is definitely underserved in Alabama and many, many other places in the US and in other countries. And so we felt like drones could have a role to improve this situation. And our idea is delivery of medicines and supplies to the homes of patients and pickups of empties and medical test specimens. This work was already underway for a year or so when the pandemic hit us. And then we realized that with the pandemic, there's even more motivation for this work because with the need to do home testing, testing for the virus and report it and samples and so on, that this could be a way to, in any type of pandemic, our current one or future ones, I'm sure there'll be some sometime in the future, to deliver tests and pick up specimens or empties as needed. So drones in the past have been primarily used for surveillance and defense. They've been mainly interested in sensor data and camera data, but more recently, attention has been turned to the use of drones in logistics. And these are the number of papers per year from Web of Science on drones and logistics. And you can see that it's going up pretty much exponentially. Of course, 2020's only about, not even 3/4 of the way through yet. There's been 2 recent survey papers on this topic, and I recommend both of them, and the citation is there. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is using drones for both pickup and delivery at customer locations. So one of the things that we were well aware of is that along with delivery gets pretty much all the attention in the drone literature, but there's also pickups. There's pickups for returns. For example, Amazon recently published that 10 to 40% of their items are returned depending on the category of item. Returns are expensive, but customers are very preferential about choosing retailers with liberal and easy return policies. I know when I shop online, which I'm doing a lot of nowadays, I really want things with, quote, free returns and something where I can just put a label on it and send it back easily. So for medical applications, we're not really talking about so much return things that we don't like, but it means that medical test, empties, and other things that need replenishment or recycling in some specialized way could be picked up and, of course, delivered as well. So if we're looking at a standard last mile delivery, and by last mile it means from some central warehouse or depot, which is shown as the square on the left in this diagram, to the customer locations, whether they're businesses or homes. And in this case, we've got a truck or a van that's making deliveries by the circle and pickups by the triangle. And of course, we have one customer that has both a delivery and a pickup, which is not so uncommon. So when we talk about adding drone deliveries, which has been done, I'm going to give you a citation in a minute. The way that that works is that the drone works in tandem with the truck and is launched from the truck to serve customers that the truck will not go to. And these are shown in the gold and yellow color, where the drone can deliver the package and then meet the truck up at a future customer location, presumably the next one. So our idea was that the drone could actually also pick up, which has not been done in the literature before. And so the drone, as long with deliveries, can pick up packages. So you can see here we've got a pickup, we have some deliveries, and we again have that one customer that's both a delivery and a pickup. The drone is still acting in tandem with the truck. So the truck driver launches the drone and then receives the drone back at a subsequent node. So in 2015, my former colleague Chase Murray, who was at Auburn at the time and is now at the University of Buffalo, wrote with his graduate student Amanda Chu this landmark paper, The Flying Sidekick TSP. And it was the first paper that showed last mile delivery with a truck drone tandem. So what we're going to do is put a little twist on this for this first work. And what we're looking for is the route that minimizes the total completion time. We have one truck and one drone, again, acting together. The drone, of course, has limited endurance, whether you have that as time or distance, it doesn't really matter. We are using in this research a capacity of one parcel. Currently, we're expanding that to multiple parcels. So the drone can only carry one parcel at a time, but the truck is uncapacitated. It can carry as many as it needs. There are some customers that cannot be served by a drone. Either they can't deal with receiving or launching a drone, or there's sensitive material that's not allowed by law or common sense to be delivered by a drone. There's a time that the driver must take to load the drone and launch it, and then to receive the drone and put it back and swap the battery. These are the constraints. Each customer is going to be visited with either vehicle. There's flow balance, but at the customer location, the nodes, and at the vehicles. Because the drone only has a capacity of one, 2 consecutive deliveries or 2 consecutive pickups are not allowed. But the drone can do a delivery followed by a pickup without returning to the truck. Obviously, the drone cannot exceed its endurance, otherwise it falls out of the sky. We do some math stuff, subturb elimination, precedence constraints, and so on. I'm not showing you the math model. It's long and not so exciting, and our time is better spent in looking more at the payoffs. So we did a number of experiments on the small instances of 10 customers that we could solve exactly. We used CPLEX with Python. We assumed a truck speed, which the truck travels over the roads, of course, of 20 miles per hour, and the drone speed of either 35 or 40 miles an hour. So not only does the drone travel faster, the drone goes in Euclidean space. It can travel the shortest distance between point to point. And we've looked at returns among the 10 customers of 0 to 4, drone endurance of 20 and 40 minutes. So this is looking at 20 minutes for the slower drone, the 35 mile per hour. So this is the most limited drone, and the number of returns. And this is our model that allows returns, the overall percent time change versus the TSP, which would be truck only, which you can see the time averages around 18% and with maximums up to well over 40%. And then on the right-hand side of columns, that is the Murray and Chu model, which is the flying sidekick TSP. So that is the truck with the deliveries only. And you can see for deliveries greater than 0, we're able to solve average, close to 4% or around 4% better time with maximum savings of up over 20%. If we look at the endurances and numbers of returns, we can see, not surprisingly, if the drone has a longer endurance, in this case of 40 minutes as opposed to 20, we get even improved savings over the more limited drone. The drone speed is also somewhat impactful. So if we move to a quicker drone, again, it improves the time savings for over both models. However, 10 customers is not so many, and our exact approach was not computationally feasible for much bigger than 10 customers. So we developed a heuristic. It's basically an improvement heuristic where we're dividing up, first doing a truck path, and then we create drone paths, and we iterate. We have an overall optimality gap of less than 2% for this heuristic, and it's nearly 2 orders of magnitude faster than the exact model and it's quite robust to both problem instance and random number seed. So these are some of the results for the larger problems. This is on instances of 20 customers with the more limited drones, so with the short endurance and the low speed. And you can see that we're able to solve it very well, and the runtime is much, much lower, of course, than the mixed integer programming one, and the savings is pretty good over the best known solution. So what I'm going to show you now is a virtual field trial of this, because I think it will give you a better idea of how it works. So this is our animation that shows you how this would work in a person. Ugh. Okay, and this worked yesterday when I did this. Let's see. Let me try one thing. Okay. Now, this is not going to work for some reason. All right, let me get out of the slideshow and show it to you this way. Sorry for that.
This video shows a virtual trial of an instance of the flying sidekick with pickup and delivery model. In the model, a drone and a truck are used for pickup and delivery of parcels. In this instance, there are 10 different locations. This is how they are distributed in the virtual environment. The location of the vehicles will be indicated by 2 dots. The green dot is the truck and the orange dot is the drone.
So that was a pickup, obviously. So here the truck and the drone are rendezvousing at a customer location. And there's also the drone has delivered and has also been launched to do its next pickup or delivery. And then the truck made the delivery at that last house. We still have to fine tune the animation to be able to show a driver and so on. But so here's a pickup here that the truck's gonna make. There's another pickup the drone is making. And it will now go to rendezvous with the truck. You can watch in the upper right square to see the aerial view of where each vehicle is located. So they're going to meet here at this kind of red barn. So the truck's waiting for the drone. The drone arrives and is launched again. And delivering to that particular house. And a pickup here at the log cabin. And we're heading back to the depot. The drone's returning to the depot. The truck's gonna do one more stop and then meet the drone back at the depot. So the truck's delivered a package here and now is returning. And then there's a happy reunion between truck and drone. Okay, let me go back to the slideshow. I hope that worked for you. I hope you were able to hear the audio as well. These videos seem like they're always a little problematic. So for this particular version of the drone for medical delivery, this could work really well. Besides using the drone just for delivery, when you add pickup, you get savings of up to about 7%. Obviously, the quantity or proportion of returns has a big impact on that. At the current time, we are extending this to multiple trucks, and actually what we're doing right now are 2 trucks sharing a drone. And then eventually we'll do multiple drone truck pairs. And the heuristic was very, very effective. Okay, so the second aspect of drones for healthcare use, especially in rural environments, is this. This is also truck and drone, but with a twist. So the drones do not go to the customer locations in this instance. The drones instead go from the depot to the truck while it is out for its rounds and resupplies the vehicles. So in the first model that I gave you, all of the orders had to be ready before the truck and drone could leave the depot. In this case, we're assuming that orders become ready throughout the day. So these might be medicines that are getting filled or supplies that are arriving and getting packaged to be sent out. So rather than holding the truck and drone at the depot waiting for all the orders to be ready, they are dispatched early, and as the orders become available, then the drone actually flies between the depot and the truck to bring these newly available orders so the truck can deliver them. This has the advantage that the customer or the patient for a medical application doesn't need to interact with the drone. So that's a little problematic, and one of the reasons we'll be doing a physical field trial is to know how easy or how challenging it is for a typical patient / customer to interact in getting and or returning things with the drone. So in this, only the truck driver, who of course can be trained on this, receives the drone and then launches it back to the depot. So this is how it works. Here again, we have the square for the depot. We have customers whose orders have been early at the depot, and then in the blue, customers are new orders and then being sent by the drone. So you can see here that the drone will meet up with the truck at specific customer locations and resupply the truck by bringing the new orders, in this case the one in the gold, that now can be delivered by the truck. Okay, so these are some of the lit review. I'm not going to go through it all. You can see the Murray and Chew paper, but this is along with delivery by drones. This is also related to release dates, same-day delivery literature, and so on, which may not use drones. So here is our problem definition. We want to find a route for the single truck, and we're going to synchronize it with drone resupply. So we minimize the total time to deliver all of the orders. The case that I'm going to show you here is the deterministic case, and that is we know when each order will be available. We know throughout the day this order is going to be available at 10:30 in the morning, this order is going to be available at noon, this order is going to be available at 2 p.m. The truck, again, is not capacitated. The drone, of course, has a limited load capacity, which in this case, of course, is greater than 1 because it needs to carry multiple orders, and of course, a flight endurance. And we also, as before, include time to unload and load the drone. So I'm skipping over the math model. It's pretty extensive. We programmed it in Java and used Cplex again. We took instances of 10 to 30 customers from a landmark paper by Solomon. All orders are the same size, and that means that every item being carried by the drone is interchangeable. So there's no decision in this model on should I take one of the bigger items or two of the smaller items. They're all interchangeable in terms of weight and size. Here, because our student is in Chile where they use the metric system instead of the English or imperial system, we're in kilometers per hour as opposed to miles per hour. And you can see there the drone is going twice as fast and, of course, going Euclidean. We're considering, in the work I'm showing you, an endurance of 30 minutes by the drone and a capacity of 4 orders each time, or 4 items each time it flies. And the release dates or release times is actually a better terminology, are uniformly distributed stochastically using beta, which defines as beta increases, it means that the order availabilities at the depot are more spread out. And then we minimize, of course, the time to deliver all the packages. So these are some of our results. I'm not going to go in extreme detail here, but you can see according to beta, which again, beta being smaller means that the orders are all available pretty much the same time, to beta being quite large. In this case, the largest we considered was 3, and they're pretty spread out over the day. This is a 10 customer problem, and the 4 instances depend on how the customers are clustered throughout the serving region and the location of the depot, if it's within the serving region or beyond the serving region, and so on. And you can see that in all cases, the truck and drone combo, except where the orders are pretty much available all at the same time, pretty dramatically improves on the time. So the times are definitely lower when we consider the drone resupply as opposed to waiting for all the orders to be available and then having the truck dispatched. And this gives you, this is the savings depending on the capacity of the drone. Obviously, if the capacity is greater, so if I have a capacity of 8 as opposed to 4, for most instances, I get an improvement and a better improvement over just using the truck only. So I'm going to show you the animation on this one. This one, for whatever reason,
Vehicle
is
routing
working.
problems with drone resupply. This is an instance of the problem. There is one depot and 4 customers, all located on the same road. The box represents the depot and the circles are the customers. The release dates in minutes are written above each node. This figure depicts a feasible solution. We consider a truck speed of 1 distant unit per minute, and the drone speed is set to twice the truck speed. Additionally, we consider a deadline of 90 minutes, which means that the truck should return before that time or there will be an overtime cost. The truck leaves the depot with the orders of clients 1 and 2. During its journey, orders 3 and 4 become available. A drone departs from the depot to customer 3, carrying them. The drone arrives at the same time as the truck. After receiving the drone and unloading the new orders, the truck moves forward to customer 4, and then returns to the depot. In this situation, the extra labor cost paid to the delivery service driver corresponds to 10 minutes of overtime. If the drone is not used, the truck must wait until the last order becomes ready to dispatch. This will generate an overtime cost of 25 minutes. Alternatively, the truck could perform multiple trips, but that would be even more expensive. At the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll have a map showing the location of the truck and the drone. The red circle represents the truck and the yellow circle represents the drone. In the main view, you'll either see the truck or the drone's perspective. And at the bottom left corner, you'll see the perspective of the other vehicle.
So here we have the truck heading out. And of course, it's a Toyota truck. And to make deliveries that were available before it left the depot. So it's starting on its route. And at some point, the drone will be launched from the depot to rendezvous with the truck to bring it orders that have become available since the drone left the depot. There it goes. It's flying out to meet up with the truck at a customer. The drone is bringing orders 3 and 4 and meeting with the truck at customer 2. So they've rendezvoused here. The drone has waited a little bit for the truck and rendezvoused at the log cabin, and now the driver will collect the 2 additional orders and then launch the drone to go back to the depot. And now the truck will continue on its route to deliver the 2 new orders, which are orders 3 and 4, to those customers. So here's a delivery of one of the orders that was brought by the drone. Okay. So
Vehicle route.
So this model, again, can significantly improve upon the customer service and the overall efficiency of deliveries and the last mile. I think for medical delivery in rural environments, it's a very pragmatic method because the patient does not have to interact with the drone, which is a concern of ours. Because many of these patients are elderly or incapacitated and may not be tech savvy. The mixed integer model provides good gaps after a few minutes, and we've developed, which I'm not showing you here just because we don't really have the time, but we developed a very effective decomposition heuristic to solve large instances in very quick time. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about our field testing. You saw the virtual test. We felt the animation environment was important so that we could see, but also people like you and our sponsors and potential sponsors could see exactly how these things work. And I have to give a shout out to the student who animated it, who's Julio Jimenez, who's a student also down in Chile, but he'll be joining Auburn. He's actually now an Auburn student, and hopefully he was unable to make it to campus in August, but hopefully will arrive in January if the pandemic is a little better by then. Okay, so part of our project involves physical field testing. When we wrote this proposal, in all honesty, it was not part of it. We were going to do the math model and maybe some virtual testing. But I think Daniel and I felt it was important to actually get our hands on drones and understand more about the limitations and the challenges and the issues needed from an actual physical implementation. So we have two drones. We have a smaller drone that was actually in the department. It didn't run, but one of our students, Mehmet Kurt, who's our drone master, was able to refurbish it and get it flying. And then with the money from the project, we purchased this Taro drone, which most drones, as I've said earlier, are actually designed for surveillance or taking pictures. So they tend to be smaller drones equipped with cameras, but we needed something heavier that could carry payloads. And this Taro drone is made for that, or more made for that, and it can carry payloads of over 2 kilograms total. It runs with using a mission planner software, and so the route of the drone, including pickups, deliveries, stops, and so on, is pre-programmed in the software, and it's sent out on the drone. So I'm going to show you a show. We haven't done a full field trial yet. We were supposed to do it this summer, and our project was delayed because of the pandemic. The drone was delayed, and just with lockdown, it was too difficult. So we are working towards doing this in October and November. It will not involve real patients, but it will involve the real environments, and it will involve a real truck/van tandem with the drone. And this is our Taro drone. This is not an animation, this is a film. Now you can see it's got a big payload on it that it's carrying, and we're demonstrating here how autonomously with its program in the mission planner, and it can be programmed to take off and deliver at various locations and either pick up or deliver packages. In this case, you can see the payload window open here, which would indicate it could drop a payload or a payload could be picked up. Then it takes off again. So we needed to get the Taro drone customized. The company customized it for us so that it would be suitable for payload use. Okay. So this concludes the formal presentation. If you're interested in our work, because we are doing more, we've got some ongoing work that I haven't been able to talk about, but hopefully will in the future. You can check out our website. That's the address there and the QR code if you want to check it out. Again, we thank our sponsors very much. Without their support, this project would not be in the status it is right now. And as mentioned early by Marguerite, I'm very proud to be a part of this volume. It came out late last fall from Springer, and it's 25 chapters of women-led investigative team research and operations research and industrial and systems engineering, and it includes applications in healthcare, production, logistics, education, and more. So I would encourage you, it's both as a physical book and it's also available as a ebook. So, and that's the QR code that takes you to the book's website. So that's all I have. I went pretty quickly. I didn't get mathy, which hopefully you probably thanked me for, because I wanted to allow enough time for questions, and I also know we're all busy and nobody wants to spend more time on Zoom than they have to. So I'm going to be quiet now. I'm not sure how questions will be handled. Marguerite, are you going to moderate them or?
Yes, Alice, thank you so much. Yeah, we'll go ahead with the Q&A time now. We have several questions in our box. Let me read them for you. First one is, what software did you use for the animation simulation?
Oh, wait a minute. Somehow I got, oh yeah. Hang on one moment. There we go. Yeah, we used two different ones. The animation we did using a newer one. We did some older animations, and I honestly don't remember. But if whoever asked that, if you email me, I will get that information to you. It's an open source animation software. We didn't have to buy it. And I can also put you in touch with Julio, who's the student who did that. I will say developing the animations is pretty time consuming. What we did for each animation was actually take a solved instance from our mathematical model from each of the two models, and then Julio programmed it all to scale, time scale, and so on. And you can see it's pretty realistic. We'd like to add some driver stuff, somewhere where you can see the driver interacting with the drone or with the customer, and so it's still slightly rough.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, do you assume drones are 100% reliable? Can the model consider that drones may be less than 100% reliable? For example, the drone has problems picking up a package and the driver must intervene. This would require some resilience to be built into the schedule.
Yes, that's an excellent point. Drones are not 100% reliable, neither are trucks or humans. And one of the big things that we're working on now with another student is drones with recourse. And so if a drone becomes unavailable or incapacitated, because one thing I didn't mention is weather issues. So drones are not going to be totally effective or effective at all in some weather conditions. So we're looking at how do we plan and replan, or schedule and reschedule in the event that a drone becomes either incapacitated or delayed. And there could be a variety of reasons for that. The other thing is, I think the second model where the drone is resupplying the truck, I see that as being a more near-term achievable goal, because you don't have the problems of a customer or patient interacting directly with the drone. So you remove that, so you have, again, a professional driver who would be better equipped to know how to properly handle the drone and what to do if there is a problem.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question is, I understand that this is for rural areas. Can this be expanded to urban setting that considers traffic congestion, for example?
Well, that's a very good point. Certainly the models there's nothing specific about them to rural environments. In other words, the math models are going to work the same in the urban environments. The urban environments, the distances are typically not as great an issue as perhaps traffic issues. Along with distances, you would have to know traffic conditions to be able to model them properly, or to maybe reduce further this relative speed of the truck versus the drone. The other reason that we felt that rural environments would be more appealing, at least in the near term, is there's much fewer issues about where a drone could fly. The drone doesn't need to fly over buildings or people, at least not very often, and there'll be less obstacles in the way that the drone would need to be able to avoid or move around. So that's why we also felt the rural environment would be a more realistic, nearer term implementation than an urban environment.
Okay. Thank you. There is one question from, I think it's about the schedule. Do we have each time to, do we have to each time provide info to a drone which house to visit, or is it predetermined and set at the beginning of journey? I guess this is a question whether this you have a planning schedule or execution schedule, or
so for both of our
some
models,
combination of those?
yeah, thank you. So for both of our models, the drone route is pre-planned, so it can be pre-programmed in the drone. So the drone knows which, in the case of the first model where the drone's making pickups and deliveries, those pickups and deliveries and the rendezvous points with the truck are all pre-programmed in the drone. In the case of the drone resupply, the drone, of course, is programmed to go from the depot to whichever customer location. It's going to rendezvous with the truck, and then it's programmed to go back to the depot. So everything's known for the drone. Again, we are working on the cases in the second version of the drone resupply that's stochastic, where the time at which orders become available during the day is going to be a random variable as opposed to a fixed time that's known in advance. So this is going to require a much more complicated math model to be able to know at what points are optimal during the day to send the drone out with which orders. And that's work that's currently underway right now.
And I think there is a continuation to that from a truck side point of view. I wonder if your model considers a more flexible system which allows the truck to decide whether to wait for the return of a drone at the launch location or to move to the next customer and retrieve drone later.
Well, I think that's a very good point. Right now, we don't allow the truck to do that. The truck is told to, this is where you're rendezvousing with the drone, and either the drone has to wait or the truck has to wait. There is a cost involved with the truck waiting time. So obviously the models, because we're doing optimization, is going to minimize the time that the truck has to wait. And there's also a cost with the drone waiting because that eats into the drone endurance. So none of the waiting time is for free. I think the truck route for the second model is developed on the fly. So in other words, we don't know, well, we do know in the deterministic case where to deliver, but the stochastic case in Model 2 that we're working on now, the truck route will continuously be updated and added to throughout the day as we decide when to send the drone and with which orders. But the version I showed you here, the version that we've completed, does not have that aspect.
Thank you. To this question about stochasticity, first, is it possible to change the program in a drone while it is in action? If not, would it be possible to have a stochastic model to handle the weather issues, for example?
Well, let me answer the second one first. Yes, it's definitely, we will be having a stochastic model that we're working on now to handle weather issues or other, if the drone breaks down, for example, or something. So that's absolutely needed. In terms of being able to be reprogrammed as it's out, yes, that is possible. It can be reprogrammed on the fly. We are not doing that because everything, all the routes are predetermined. But that does give the flexibility. Also, these drones have some built-in intelligence in them. So for example, if the drone knows that it's running out of battery, it literally won't fall out of the sky, or it's not supposed to. It's supposed to land somewhere safely so then it could be retrieved. So the drones themselves have some of that ability that's going to be needed, especially in unforeseen circumstances.
Thank you. I'll combine two questions here. One is this: is the parrot drone really that noisy? And the other one is: will drone be navigated by people? Right? Are drones navigated by people? And the question is: was the research problem created by sponsors or by a research team?
Okay, so I'll answer the last one first. It was created by the research team. We thought about it, we started working on it, and we wrote a proposal when we saw the availability of this program. And fortunately, Toyota and the Raymond Company liked the idea, and especially the humanitarian aspects of it. So it was work that was originated by myself and my colleague Daniel Silva. In terms of the Taro drone, I had the sound all the way turned up, so it's outside, it's not that noisy, I mean, compared to the ambience noise. It does not need to be driven by a person. As I said, it could be driven by a person, but that wouldn't be very practical for our application. So what we use is a software called Mission Planner. So the Mission Planner is all done on the computer or a tablet, and that software then is communicated to the drone, and the drone flies autonomously. So in the film you saw, there was no human involved with any of those actions. It was all pre-programmed in the takeoff, landing, the opening of the hatch, and so on, pre-programmed in the Mission Planner as one mission. And then the drone does it autonomously.
Okay, one more question, we still have time. Have you looked at the savings of 2 or 3 drones on a truck? It would be interesting to know the best number of drones for different types of routes based on the density of deliveries.
So you cut out a little bit at the end, but I think this is looking at asking about the scale up. What if we had multiple trucks or multiple drones for a truck? The short answer to that is it's work underway. So in the first model, we are looking at multiple drone trucks. And then in the second model, what we're doing with that one is we're going to have multiple trucks that share a drone. So the drone is going to resupply more than one truck, which will increase utilization of the drone. I know that doesn't sound like big scale ups, but when you do this mathematically, when you're trying to create a math model and then solve it either exactly or approximately, as you scale up, it's significantly more challenging from a modeling and solution perspective. But yes, that is works underway. We started, with the simplest case of each of these, which is one truck, one drone, deterministic case. And now we're building on that.
Well, thank you. We still have a couple of questions, but we are out of time. I invite everyone to send you an email if you don't mind, Alice, communicate with you, contact you to answer or give the answers. With that, I want to thank you, Alice, for the presentation, for visiting us warmly here virtually. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And thanks for sharing, Alice, your thoughts and insights. This will be it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thanks.
Okay.